Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea. The single best idea is to have a team that works all weekend, shaping up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and particularly the difficult task is shaping up Monday. Global Wall Street, and if you haven't lived it, maybe you think everybody's off looking for a man in finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue-eyed. That's a song right now, folks, for those of you who aren't up in the zeitgeist. With afterthought, I'm up in the zeitgeist. And if you're not a man in finance, you're not out 2 days in the Hamptons or whatever, partying. What you're doing is working all weekend. And that's what we do at Bloomberg Surveillance. Yes, we do things as well, but we're always moving forward to Monday morning and spark conversation. And today was exceptionally good. I really want to thank Derek Wallbank, who runs our Singapore shop. He was in Delhi for the Indian elections. It was 111 degrees Fahrenheit when he came to us from our partially chilled offices in New Delhi. And he was just brilliant on the heat wave, the excessive heat that we are seeing equatorial and, of course, farther north than we could ever imagine. Out on YouTube live chat, thank you, not equatorial heat, but to Tromsø, Norway, which I didn't know existed. It's where you go in Norway to ski jump and to look at the northern lights. It's way up. It's like 69 degrees latitude. Thank you so much for listening to us in Tromsø, Norway this morning. One of the reasons people listen is eclectic conversation on equities. Robert Teeter provides that. He's at Silvercrest. He's been doing this for decades. He knows you have to be in the market to win in the market. Here's Robert Teeter on the Fed Chat.
I was talking to some colleagues about this recently of the famous Greenspan quote, if you understood what I said, you misunderstood me. And that makes for a little easier environment in some ways as opposed to this absolute scrutiny on every single data point. And you get a tenth better or worse on CPI and it moves the market on the day. But really, it's important to look at those longer term trends and what's going on. Inflation's been stuck for a while. Fed's on a hard pause. So like you, I look to the earnings side. And there's just been a ton of progress on profit margins. Looking back from COVID till now, you've had revenues in the S&P up about 30% and headcount up only about 8%. You're starting to see some progress on the margin front that I think was unanticipated.
There's the best compare and contrast of the morning there, the 30% versus 8%. That's what we try to do. Compare and contrast is I'm going to steal it from the Chartered Financial Analyst Institute of Virginia, the CFA program. I'm very proud to say I'm a member of the CFA cadre. And basically, folks, one statistic, 30%, is of little value. You've got to compare it to someone. So always what you see in the game is compare and contrast. And they're Teeter comparing on our prosperity, 30% profit growth versus 8% labor growth as well. One of the ideas he sees for stable, if not improving, margins. We stop by, and it's not every 90 days. He's in retirement, out on golf courses, but he's still very much watching the markets and sends out private notes. Dennis Gartman is the piñata of the equity market. People love to jump on him. He's made clear he's missed the equity market. We talked about that. But what we really talked about is truly one of his great iconic trades, the only one I know with any equivalency to this, was David Malpass at Bear Stearns years ago, which is you buy gold, but do you own gold in dollars? Or do you short euros at the same time? Or do you short yen? Dennis Gartman's call of gold in yen is stunning. I'm not going to go through the numbers now just because of the brevity of single best idea, but all you got to know is he's been making 20% a year on this out of the pandemic and even more solid, more stable as you go back farther. It's truly one of the great trades of a lifetime. Dennis Gartman, gold in yen. Gartman reaffirms today on Bloomberg Surveillance weak yen. Let's listen.
We'll probably see the dollar versus renminbi trade above 8, maybe 8.5 over the course of the next several years. But again, watch what happens to dollar yen as we go through, if we go through, and I think we shall go through 160. The Bank of Japan will come in and intervene at 160 again, trying to stem the dollar strength. They won't succeed. They succeeded for about 3 days last time. This time that'll be even less time. for success, and will trade to 175 very quickly. So, gold in yen terms has been a great trade. I think it's going to continue to be a very good trade for the coming several years, certainly for the coming several months. No question about that.
So you own gold, and what do you own it in? And if Japanese yen is weakening, gold does better relative to if you own it in U.S. dollars. That's basically how the trade goes. Maybe don't do this at home, but that's what pros like Dennis Gartman look at. All I can say is everything done. It's been an extraordinary trade. Gartman, who's been doing commodities since time began, I think, Eric, was before Nixon was president. I think you got to go back to John Tyler to capture the entire scope and scale of Dennis Gartman. Think red wheat in Kansas. He's not a gold bug. I mean, this is very, very different than being a gold bug. It's looking at some of the great geopolitical changes out there, including central bank buying of gold. And also, I should point out, the debt buildup in the United States really front and center now and into the election as well. We're on Android. We're on Apple CarPlay, the Bloomberg Business app. It's free. On YouTube, subscribe to Bloomberg Podcasts. Search for Bloomberg Podcasts. Out on YouTube, growing every day. And the live chat is great. Good morning, Mexico City, and good morning, Tom. I don't know how to pronounce it. Thompson, Norway? Ja? Do you say ja in Norway? I don't know. It says road trip. It was 55 degrees there. It's single best idea. Good morning.